Everybody had to know everybody else's job. And eventually I wound up as the #1 man.
What do you mean by #1 man?
I'll explain. #1 man is the one that pulls the lanyard, and the gun goes off. As soon as the gun goes off, I have to open up the breech, the block, and put my hand, I have a pail of water next to my legs, and I have a sponge there, and I wipe out the inside, because once they put the shell in there, they have to put a powder charge. If there's any little flame there, that powder charge would explode. So it had to be wiped out right away. And everything is in seconds. It sounds long, but I open up the breech. There's 2 guys holding up the shell on a sort of a breech there, and 2 guys slam the shell inside. And then I close the, and then someone puts the powder charge in there. Each man has his own job, and then we're ready to fire. Then the sergeant hears the commands from the photo observer. It goes to the captain or lieutenant, and then he gives the fire, and we fire. And where the shells fall is where the photo observer, they're up in the front there, see where the shells fall, and they give us all the information.
I take it that each man within the crew has a number, like a #1 man, a #2 man.
Yeah, right.
Are you the #1 man that pulls the lanyard? What does #2 man do?
Well, the #2 and the 3, they would bring the shell up and hold it right before the opening of the breech, and then there's like 3 and 4 or 5 men. They would slam the shell in that long rod there, and as soon as then there was another guy who put the powder charge in. There are 2 kinds of powder charge. One is green, and one is white.
What I'd like you to do now, Max, is think back to June 6th and describe to our audience what you saw the morning of the invasion, as if you were there right now.
Well, we were all sleeping. Most of us sleeping on the top deck. And then we heard this noise and shooting, and the guys were getting up little by little and realizing they're now at in France, outside of France. And like I said, it was a misty, foggy day. And I think it's because we had the 3 years of training, none of us were really frightened, except that we know we were getting live ammunition thrown at us. But we got to such a routine, we forgot that we were civilians. Like a person puts on his left shoe first every morning when he gets dressed. It's a habit. And that's what happened with us. We just followed. We knew what we had to do. We knew we had, as soon as we got to the beach, we couldn't get on D-Day. We had to wait till the next morning. And we went on, everybody was on the tractor. Everybody knew their job. And before we made the landing, we were told we were going to land in this and this spot. We were going to go in this field. We were going to waterproof our guns. And, well, it didn't work out that way, because now history shows that the Germans had a division of maneuvers that day, that week, and they threw him in it happened to be at our Omaha Beach in front of us, and so it took a little longer to go. So that's why we had to wait another day till the...
So you landed on Omaha Beach a day or 2 after the actual invasion. Max, as you crossed that beach, what do you remember of the scene that you saw?
First I saw on my left side bodies in mattress covers, piled up like bags of flour. If you know the bakeries, back in the old days, when they made a delivery, they put those sacks of flour in front of the bakery, and then they pull them downstairs. That's what it reminded me. Bags of flour, but there were bags of bodies in there. I don't know, maybe they were piled up maybe 4 high, one on top of another. And then as we went up this hill to get and start to move up, I saw in the fields all these cows blown up with their legs sticking up in the air and laying on their back. Those were the sights. But the those bodies on the left side, that I never could forget. Yeah.
When your unit came ashore, where did it go and what did it do?
Well, we went into a field, I don't know where. We went in about a mile or two, maybe 3 miles. I think the town was outside of Como. I'm not good at pronouncing those names, but we put our guns in there, and we started to waterproof our guns, get all the cosmoline. And then we went into our firing positions, and we did, every now and then we had orders to fire and fire, and we just continued that way. It was all like routine for us anyway. It was nothing, we were a trained crew.
Now, while you were there, you lived in the field continuously?
All the time, never lived in a house.
Could you describe for our audience how you lived and what was the morale of the men around you?
Well, the morale was good. I've never heard anyone complaining, just kidding around and fooling around, even at the gun. The only thing that there was a little problems we had with the airco, we had attached to our outfit an anti-craft guns, and every time planes came over, they were so nervous, they started to shoot, and they were our own planes. After a while, they started to strafe us, and there was a complaint going on. In fact, that's where I got hurt. That when they started to strafe us, they were holding the trail of the gun. Everything was wet and damp, and they let go of the trail. Everybody ran to the foxholes, and hurt my back there that time. But then orders came out. There will be no American planes between the hours, we'll say, 12 to 8, something like that. And if you see any planes during those hours, they're Germans. Our planes will be falling from, say, early in the morning till 12 in the afternoon. There'll be our planes going.
After the Battle of the Bulge, what happened to your unit?
Well, they took us, we were protecting the road to Liège because that was our only supply line. So we stayed there after the war let up, and the Bulge slowed up, and that's where our supply lines go. And then they gave the guys a break. They had a truck there where they wash your clothes and everything, a mobile truck there. So they let, every other day, they let 6 or 7 or 8 guys go to there, and that was like having a 12-hour pass, because it took about 4 hours to have the clothes, then another hour to go, and 2 hours up and back the trip. So that was some of the gifts they gave us.